Dylan.
Oh, hey, Matt.
Wow. All of the British listeners just clicked out
Fuck
immediately.
you.
All right, so you picked this one. I have never seen this movie until the other night when I watched it. So Arthur Christmas.
Yeah.
Not to be confused with Arthur's Christmas, about a delightful aardvark learning the true meaning of Christmas.
And that was the thing is
assume.
like, even before I had seen it, when people talked about Arthur Christmas, that's what I pictured. I was like, that the beloved movie is like an Aardvark Christmas special. Like, all right, there's got to be something to this. A couple years ago, I found a Blu-ray copy of this on Black Friday. I sat down and watched it, and I mean, absolutely instantly, it has become a staple in our home for Christmas. You gotta watch it. You gotta watch it every year, and I think there's a very particular character, the movie's namesake, that I think you and I both can truly identify with.
Well, we'll get into this, actually.
Yeah.
I'm going to jump down to a note that I wrote down.
Yeah.
And I wrote, man, the North Pole sucks. Almost every single movie that takes place there is basically a bunch of people like, get a load of this guy. He likes Christmas too much. like it drives me nuts. Like, you're in the fucking North Pole. Why is every single movie Rudolph, this? I think even in all of the other reindeer, it was like, oh, look at this motherfucker that believes in the magic of Christmas. Like, you're in the North Pole. You should be there because you believe in the magic of Christmas. What is happening? How is a person too into Christmas who lives at the North Pole? Is Santa's fucking son? You're like, Santa's son, you're like, oh, get a load of this guy. He's really into Christmas.
It's business,
His dad's
man.
fucking Santa Claus.
It's a business. It's a
Like,
business.
That drives me up a goddamn wall every time that I watch any of these Christmas specials where that's like a plot point. It's like, okay. Anyway, I was very charmed by this movie, but I enjoyed this movie.
So straight up though,
No.
fuck this movie.
Well, no, it's right out the gate. There's an adorable line. Arthur Christmas is reading this letter from Gwen, a little girl, and as he's reading the letter, it's this adorable British voice reading, and it's just like, she's asking all these questions, and then the one question is, does your sack get bigger every year due to the exponential population growth? Like, it's just like these adorable kids questions. And as someone who had to just spend the last week making sure that my friends' 4 kids didn't miss their bus, so I was getting up early and driving over to their house and dealing with a 14, 12, 10, and 8-year-olds and like wrangling them onto buses. It is wild what like 8 and 10-year-olds will say, and like the words that they will use to say it, where like that question seems way less ridiculous to me now that I've spent a week hanging out with these kids. Where I'm like, no, I could legitimately see the 10-year-old asking like, do you think Santa's sack gets bigger every year due to our exponential population growth?
Kids are wild, man. The things that kids say are absolutely insane, and that shit don't change.
So we're standing outside waiting for the bus. It's the 10-year-old, the 8-year-old, and myself, and they're asking me about music. And the 10-year-old or the 8-year-old goes, "What's your favorite band?" And I said, it's this ska band, 5 Iron Frenzy. And he's like, "Oh, my favorite band is Imagine Dragons." And I was like, "Yeah, they're pretty good." And he goes,
No, he didn't. No, he
Imagine
didn't.
dragging these nuts across your face.
Yes, he got you, bro. As soon as you said that, as soon as you said Imagine Dragons, I was like, I know where this is going.
And like, I just had my fucking jaw drop. I was like, oh God, this kid. But yeah,
what was your response? Hold on. No.
I didn't respond. He knew that I just tried to ignore it. And he's like, you hear what I said? said I did.
Do you want me to repeat it?
Well, then he's like, knock, knock. And I'm like, who's there? He's like, Imagine Dragons. I'm like, I'm not home. He's like, you got to say Imagine Dragons too. And I'm like, yeah, I'm not going to do that.
Oh my God. That kid nailed you, bro. That's wild. That's fucking insane.
Dude, killed me.
That's
And then
so
I
funny.
immediately, as soon as he was on the bus, I started laughing. I was like, hold it together, Kelly.
Dude, that would have been me in my classroom. I'm like, oh my
Yeah.
God, I don't know what to do right now.
Yeah, I
don't
want
know
to
what
laugh,
do.
but I will get in trouble if I acknowledge that was really fucking funny. All right. So,
Oh, God.
there's a lot to digest with Arthur
Yeah.
Christmas, and I want you to kind of take the steering wheel on this. But,
Okay.
But while we're talking about this first scene,
Yeah.
I do have to say, right out the gate, just listening to the letter Arthur writes back to this little girl, I was already starting to get choked up because you're right.
Yeah.
Like, I do identify with this dude who's just like, fuck yeah, Christmas is great. We're going to make sure that you have a great Christmas. We're
Yeah.
going to get you that twinkle pink bike. Like, you're going to fucking love this. It's
Yeah.
going to be great.
So, Arthur Christmas is about, we've got Santa up in the North Pole, and he's aging a bit, and everyone thinks that he is close to retirement. And Santa has two sons. He's got Arthur, of course, who we talked about, and he's got Stephen, his older brother, Arthur's older brother. And Stephen has taken it upon himself to basically kind of take over Christmas. Not in like a hostile takeover way, but he's just like, hey, here's how we can do things more efficient, more effectively. He turns Christmas into a business, more or less. High tech. Everything is done through gadgets and gizmos and apps and stuff like that. And it's very streamlined. Like, we're just going to send out a bunch of elves to different places and they're going to drop presents around. However, he does, like, put in the whole, like, Santa needs to deliver at least a present. So Santa, like, it's so funny that opening scene where we have Christmas Eve and the elves are, like, running around doing a bunch of shit and hiding, and is very Prep and Landing for any of you guys who have seen those specials on ABC back in the day. With the technology that they use. And it's so funny because they're doing all this stuff. They're going like house to house and doing all this. And then Santa comes down and delivers like a present. Like,
Yeah.
that's it. So Christmas is a success, quotes around success. And they return back home and everyone's expecting Santa to announce his retirement. And everyone's...
I want to talk about this real quick. So
Yeah.
Santa shows up and he's giving a big speech.
Yeah.
And he's talking about the good times and the bad times.
Yeah.
Of the different years. And he mentions the flood, and there's just this one 80-yard voice in the background of an elf that just goes like, I lost everything in that flood. Like, and it's so random
Yeah.
that it killed me.
There's a lot of bits like that. It's British humor, and it's fucking
Yeah, very much
phenomenal.
so. But yeah, so Santa's supposedly announcing in retirement.
Yeah, and everybody's expecting Steven to become the new Santa because he's the one who's kind of taken over the operation. He's come up with all these ideas and he streamlined the process. And Santa kind of realizes that he's not ready to hang it up yet, even though he probably should. And he says, "All right, we'll do it again next year." And my favorite bit, kind of similar to yours, is when he says we'll do it again next year, and then balloons start falling that say congratulations, Steven.
Yeah.
All the elves are celebrating, are beginning to celebrate because they think Steven's going to become Santa, but then they start celebrating again because Santa's coming back. He's coming back next year. And Arthur, being the sweet guy that he is, he's just like, all right. Jolly-o, let's go.
Yeah.
And they start he's like, let's play.
Because man, Steven kind of sucks.
Steven sucks.
Let's just call it out.
Steven is
Steven
cold.
sucks.
He's not a bad person, and that's what I like about this movie is there's no real villain per se.
But
There's
he's
nobody's
just
trying to ruin Christmas. But
no, but he just as we get towards the end of the movie, Santa starts to see that Steven might have all of the planning and the business management side of things, but he has zero empathy for children and an ability to relate to children and understand what makes Christmas magical. And we learn that very quickly in this scene where they figure out that one kid was missed during this.
Yeah.
And it was Gwen, the girl who wrote the letter that Arthur responded to. And for Steven, he's like, look, we delivered 99.99999999999% of the gifts. That is a great average. Why screw it up? And Arthur's like, but it'll ruin the magic of Christmas for this one kid. Yeah. And like, that is enough of a reason to not give up on on delivering this gift. But Stephen convinces Santa, like, come on, man, we crushed this. We deserve to celebrate. We shouldn't worry about this one single gift that didn't get delivered. And they don't even refer to her name. They just refer to like child number, blah, 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 blah. But like Arthur, and another thing that they don't really draw a ton of attention to, but to me is a huge sign, is like just knowing child number, Arthur knows what kid it is. Yep. He's like, I know exactly who this is. I know what this gift is. Like, let's just go. Like, let's just fucking go rogue and go. And we should mention at this point, Gramps Santa, who is the previous Santa who retired for the new Santa to take over, who I think is named Malcolm. Yes. In the movie, is his actual name is Malcolm. And Gramps Santa hates all the new technology. He wishes that it was just like it was in the old days, just an old wooden sled, 8 reindeer, the simpler times. Like, he thinks Christmas can still be done that way, and that we've overcomplicated it. So he wants to go with Arthur on this trip, and we also get a very enthusiastic elf when it comes to wrapping things.
Oh my God, she's so good. She's so amazing. Really, like, the main plot line is you've got these 3 different versions of Santa trying to prove that they're the best. And then you've got Arthur, who's the only one
could care less.
Yeah, he's the only one that genuinely cares about making this kid's Christmas and keeping the magic of Christmas alive. And it really is just the story of him trying to keep the magic alive. And it's funny because if you think about it, if people would have just listened to Arthur, it could have been like, all right, let's zippity-doo-dah this present on over there and get on back home. But all because Stephen doesn't want to be wrong, he refuses to assist in this.
Yeah.
Hey, do you have an idea for a podcast but don't know where to start? Or do you have an already existing podcast that you want to take to the next level? Well, check out WeKnowPodcasting.com. From concept development to theme music to editing to logos, WeKnowPodcasting.com is a one-stop shop for all things pod. Don't hesitate to hit us up. We're very nice.
And this is where we get to go on a crazy adventure. People mistake Arthur as an alien.
Yes.
There's a new shot of his shadow, and it looks exactly like an alien. It's hilarious. It's a great little visual gag. We find out that Gramps may have started the Cuban Missile Crisis one Christmas. Like there is like a huge international threat that's going on. They're like, what is this flying thing in the sky?
Yeah.
I think aliens are coming. We have to stop this. And
it's very reminiscent of the towards the end of Nightmare Before Christmas.
Nightmare Before Christmas. Yeah. Yes, a little bit of that. Yeah. So, you know, everybody, all of the governments have come together on we have to do something about this alien threat that is flying around in our skies on this Christmas Eve.
Yeah.
And Santa Malcolm is starting to have second thoughts about agreeing with Stephen. And there is another beautiful moment where he walks into Arthur's room and just sees the love that this son has for Christmas. Yeah. Just all over the decorations. Like, the whole room is decorated. There's a giant picture of him sitting on his dad's lap. Like, it is a beautiful example of how my heart looks. If you could take an X-ray and see my heart at Christmas time, it looks like Arthur's room.
It is weird. Going back to what you were talking about earlier, like, how do you get to the point where you just don't give a fuck about Christmas when you live at the North Pole?
Yeah.
Like, how do you reach that instance where you're like, fuck this. This is fucking stupid. Like, Arthur's a loser. Like,
it doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't. There's hundreds of elves who are like, look at this fucking guy.
Yeah. So they word has spread across the North Pole that they missed a gift.
Yeah.
And everybody's losing their minds, and they're watching to see if Arthur can pull this off. And there are some really great moments. There's some sweet moments. A ton of crazy shit happens. Like we said, there's the alien thing. They get stranded in Cuba at one point.
Yeah.
Like, everything is chaos. Arthur starts to get frustrated because he realizes that Gramps Santa is there for selfish reasons.
Yep.
Like, he's like, none of you care about this little girl.
Nope.
And her good Christmas. Everyone else is doing this out of some sense of pride or ego, and like, we're above that, right? So we do get this scene where both Arthur and Steven go to the wrong address at different times.
Yeah, yep.
When Steven shows up, he hand delivers this bicycle to the kid, realizes it's the wrong kid, and just tries to take it back. And first of all, he goes, I know it's not the bike you asked for, but it's more expensive, and that means it's better. But then he's asking the kid to like sign a release form or whatever to say like, I didn't see this happen and we never forgot to drop off the gift or whatever. And then he realizes that it's the wrong kid, and Santa's watching the visual of this kid screaming, please, can I keep this gift?
Yeah.
And Steven is just like trying to shake this child off of the bike so he can leave.
Yeah.
And it essentially ruined this child's Christmas as well.
100%.
Do you remember
And I
the
think
Christmas Santa claimed a gift and took it back?
I think we know people like this. And I don't, because I don't
1,000%.
think that, again, I don't think Steven is mean-spirited. It's
He
not
just doesn't
a
give a
malicious
fuck about
thing.
Christmas. Like,
Yeah,
this.
he's just like, bro, this just needs to work. Like
Yeah.
like we just need this to go off without a hitch. I don't like. Sorry, this isn't your bike. I'm taking this. You're good. Like, I mean, it's there's no like heart in it, and I know people like that who, yeah, they'll like like maybe they're throwing a Christmas party, and if things don't go perfect, they're losing their minds and stuff like that. And it's a lot less about Christmas and keeping the magic alive and enjoying themselves or enjoying the holiday, and it's more about making sure everything's done quote unquote correctly, and making themselves look good. And again, I don't think he was malicious in that. He's just like, nope, this is the way it needs to be, and this is the way it should be, and I don't know. It's unfortunate that there are people like that, and people just need to understand, guys. It's magic, man. It's whatever.
Yeah.
Keep it up.
We've got magic to do.
So yeah,
but
they
Arthur gets to the town where he needs to be.
yeah.
But they're like, you're not going to make it to the house in
No,
time.
the sun is coming up. So this is the most unbelievable portion of this movie, because if you and I were that kid, we're awake already.
Oh, 1,000%. 1,000%. We talked about that a couple weeks ago with Garfield. Like, we are wide awake. But Arthur's like, no, we're not over until I say it's over. And he like jumps on the fucking bike. He unwraps the bike, jumps on it. And he's like, I'm going to fucking pedal this shit into this house. This bike is getting delivered.
Yeah.
And his little
He's
elf friend is
driving this
following
bike
him.
as the elf is rewrapping it.
Yes, it's hilarious. And they finally get to the house. And just as they get to the house, Steven, Santa, and Gramps Santa show up. And all three of them are fighting over who gets to be the one to leave the gift at the tree. And Arthur's just like, yo, guys, it doesn't matter who leaves the gift.
He's like,
Just
shut the fuck up. You're gonna wake her up.
Leave the fucking gift.
Yeah.
You psychopaths.
Yeah. God, I should have killed you all when I had the chance.
And that's when Malcolm realizes, oh, obviously Arthur is the only person who gave a shit about this gift getting delivered. He's the person who needs to leave the gift.
Yeah, for sure.
Makes sense. Story checks out for me. But
yeah, it's like the fuck, man. Like, duh. Yeah. Did we need 97 minutes for you to understand that your one kid loves Christmas and your other kid just doesn't really give a shit? Like, I mean, come on. You can't tell me this is the first Christmas this has happened. something like this has happened. I think where it goes next is like they kind of all work together. If I remember correctly,
they work as a team. They drop off the gift. Gwen gets it. They hide in a closet so she doesn't see them, and that's when, as they're about to go back on the sleigh, Arthur's like, "Can't we watch her open the gift?"
Oh God, and that's right, because didn't Steven say he's never watched? Like, he's never seen him.
And that's when Malcolm Santa is like, "Man, I've been so busy trying to hit our deadlines, I've forgotten to go back and watch a little bit."
Yeah.
And then they watch this girl just have the best reaction to getting her gift from Santa.
Yeah. And I think they all look at Arthur because he's like got a smile on his face and he's tearing. Oh my God, dude, I'm gonna tear up again. We're getting so into it.
That's when we know it's Christmas time, baby. We got those tears of flowing.
We're in the fucking midst of it, y'all. I think it ends on, I don't know, something that I could have logically figured out years ago. Where, hey, maybe if we all work together, this will be a lot easier for us to pull off. because that's kind of what it becomes. Like Arthur takes over as Santa, but everybody's kind of working together. Like Steven's doing the thing that he like is good at. I think he remains back at the headquarters, if I remember correctly, and he's kind of leading the charge from there. And
he's in charge of like the organizational and tactile thing, and everyone's enjoying their retirement, and Arthur is our Santa.
Yeah, and it's absolutely perfect, guys. I don't. This is one of the few movies that I've seen in modern Christmas classics. To me, like I think this movie holds up with your elves, with your Santa Clauses. I think it holds up, and that might just be me out of the two of us, but it's a movie that when I saw it for the first time, I instantly knew that it was going to get added to my yearly holiday watches. There's a lot of heart here, and I identify with Arthur very much in a world where I feel like the Christmas spirit is kind of dwindling or dying around me. And it's people will say like, oh, it's because you're not allowed to say Merry Christmas anymore. And I'm like, it's got nothing to do with that. It's like, you're just being an asshole about this. I don't care. I don't care about the holidays. Just celebrate. Like that's my thing. Like, I don't care about what holiday you celebrate. Just celebrate, man. Like, that's what it's all about to me is believe in the magic. I don't care if you celebrate Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, fucking Flying Spaghetti Monster Day. Like, I don't give a shit.
Just do it and be happy doing it.
Exactly. And that's what it's all about. It's all about that magic. And I even say it in my classroom because I can see it in some of my students where they're like, I said something about setting up the tree way earlier, like early November, like the week after Halloween. And they're like, oh, it's too early. You can't do that yet. And I'm like, why? Like, it's so like depressing sometimes in this room.
Show me all of the banger Thanksgiving decorations and all those great classic Thanksgiving movies, and like then maybe I'll consider that November 1st to like whenever the fuck Thanksgiving falls each year is like a valid, we need to make sure that we're giving this the ample amount of time. But I can count maybe 5 Thanksgiving movies that are worth a damn on.
And one I talked about during the Garfield thing, Son-in-Law is like, you got Son-in-Law, Blood Rage.
Plane, Trains, and Automobiles. It's not impressive. Like, it's not an impressive holiday. And, look, do I love getting some breakfast at my parents' house, watching the Macy's Thanksgiving Day parade, and like eating food and having a good time? Like, it's a great fucking time, but I don't need like 3 weeks of hype up for it. But I need like 7 or 8 weeks of hype up for fucking Christmas.
Like, do you know what I'm listening to?
It's all ramp up
during that Thanksgiving. I'm listening to fucking Christmas music. Like that.
You know why I'm watching the Macy's Thanksgiving Day parade? Because Santa's at the end of that shit.
Exactly, man. Like, I'm fucking ready for it.
If I wanted to see Broadway stars lip sync to a song from one of their shows because it's too goddamn cold to perform outside.
Exactly. I don't know, man. I think this is one of those movies that is like, hey, the magic still exists. And I think that's something that everybody needs to remember is that like the magic is still here, guys. And sometimes you just got to make your own magic.
It's a damn good movie. I don't know if it'll be one I watch every year, but it'll definitely be one that if like I'm flipping through the channels and it's on, or like I'm not sure what to watch and I'm like, oh, it's on Hulu right now. Like, I'll watch this.
This is one of those things that when somebody looks at me and says, hey, I'm looking for a holiday recommendation that you think maybe I haven't seen, I'll be like, have you seen Arthur Christmas? Because I think it's a solid watch. It's definitely a solid watch.
I'm glad you introduced it to me, and a happy Arthur Christmas to you, sir.
And a happy Arthur Christmas to you, my friend.
Whoa, now we won't stop till the big ball drops on New Year's. Happy holiday, have a great holiday, have a merry happy holiday.
You're listening to the Geekscape Network.